I wanted to talk to you all about the way we approach work in India. It's very important to the way morphogenesis was set up. Manit and I, in the mid-90s, we were studying at the Architectural Association, London. And we noticed that amongst a lot of architectural discourse, the one that was mostly missing was about any kind of design originating out of India. And which was an unfortunate sort of situation, because in the past, Indian design is really what makes India sort of an imageable figure for everybody in their mind. But in the 90s, there wasn't really much being talked about what is going on in India. So amongst many conversations, which is what we seem to do kind of like 24 hours a day, we kind of decided that this was perhaps the right time to go back to India, where the economy was opening up. There was a lot of potential for new architecture, perhaps new typologies, and to kind of discover what the architecture would be of this emergent India, which could be talked about around the world and seen, and kind of bring India back into debate about what a modern Indian architecture should be. So last 18 years of our practice has been very exciting. We are about 100 like-minded people who work together at Morphogenesis. We deal with a lot of different kind of work, about half of it which is driven by developer-driven work, which is commercial, retail, residential, and a lot of different typologies which have got introduced to India and the Asian subcontinent. The other half is private clients, which are, in a way, patronly clients, where institutional work, art galleries, cultural projects, schools. And then third, which is very, very close to our heart, we have been involved in architectural advocacy, in rebuilding India's quite rapidly collapsing urban systems in cities which are getting overcrowded rapidly. And this is something that we just do from our heart to pay back to the city. Recently, that has come to some success with I'm appointed in the Delhi Urban Arts Commission as one of 4 people to help kind of undo some of the damages of rapid urbanization. India is a country where we have enough resources, enough land, lots of people, as you all know, and yet somehow we don't seem to have enough in our cities. What we build today are some kind of mental imagery that this is what is really required for India, and I'm not entirely sure where this confusion comes from, because this is what we did in the past. And we've had traditionally an architecture that is stemmed in our history, in cultural context, and materiality which has emerged from the region, because in India traditionally we've always had scarcity of resources for the common man, at least. This is the architecture of morphogenesis. This is something that we build sustainability as the backbone of all our design thinking. We take standard acceptable norms of good green architecture. We mix it with our understanding of what was green architecture when it wasn't termed green architecture. We look at what our aspirations of the global Indian is today, and what is the affordability that is desired of our architecture today, and what is the imageability, and what is the image that a global Indian is looking to project. Using all of that and keeping sustainability as the backbone of our thinking, we build buildings. The first one you see on the left is Pearl Academy of Fashion, which is a hybrid building, which is a typology mostly available in developing nations, which is not mechanically centered on air conditioning. And then some of the other buildings you see, they are modern day requirements of a global India, which has corporates, which has IT buildings, which has research centers. And in all of those, you'll see those little blocks at the bottom. We consistently try and bring the energy used by the building down to much below the acceptable green standards. So this is the Pearl Academy of Fashion, Jaipur. This was a project built in less than $300 per square meter. And this is based in in Jaipur, in Rajasthan, which mostly buildings look like that today. This is the Pearl Academy of Fashion. This was built on basic passive design principles where traditional typologies of a second skin made of what we call jalis in India, which is essentially perforated walls, and using subterranean water collection so architecture, which was again has a term called bauli, where in this extremely hot climate, water was stored, rainwater was harvested subterraneanly and used, as well as shadow analysis, because this is one of the cities that touches 50 degrees centigrade in the summer. So shade is very important, especially considering it's a hybrid building. These are some of the images of what a fairly rectilinear facade on the outside breaks out into a playfulness which is intended in one way and generated in another. These sections show the baulis that I talked about, where the incident water on the site is collected, as well as the sewage treatment plant water is recycled and brought to the base. Evaporative cooling is used, and it creates, this is the base of the building, so the entire building is kind of floating above a subterranean water collection point. These are traditional insulation techniques. Earthen clay pots are used for insulation, which brings the temperature substantially, not just a couple of degrees, but maybe 10 or 12 degrees down. So it does the job of air conditioning. This is an architectural section that shows how earthen pots are used. This is what the fenestration does, in addition to being the second skin, and also the sewage treatment plant water comes down as drip irrigation on the cementatious second skin, but it also creates interesting opportunities to work with shade and light. That is the building just before it was handed over. Various images, very simple building, paint and plaster, cementatious jalis, all material sourced within 200 kilometers. Stone that was used very sparingly is all local to Rajasthan. This is an image of the water collection point at the base of the building. And this is, I talked about the bauli, which is the traditional step well created to save water. Normally, because it's so hot, so there was places for social interaction created along it, so people can sit and by the use of evaporative cooling, also achieve a certain amount of thermal comfort. And as you see, it starts to get used. And the energy EPI achieved is only 25, whereas the acceptable green norm in India is 200. This is a completely different kind of building. This is for the modern day typology, which did not exist 20 years ago. This is an IT campus. Infosys is a company that most of you probably heard of. It exists in America as well. And these are special economic zones where people go in for several hours of confinement to the office building. And they are IT software programmers. And these are usually located just outside a city because they are so large. They're almost like little townships themselves. Now, to try and, we set out an agenda to achieve net zero energy for 20,000 people, zero water balance for the same number of people, and zero waste discharge into the system. So this is a master plan for 140 acres. We took advantage of the fact that it's located on a slightly sloping site, and all the water from the site was drained into it, which is then recycled and used for the entire 20,000 people. So the form of this building came out of creating one ideal block, which was naturally daylit, glare-free. And then using the 22.5 degrees north location on the tropic of this site in Nagpur, also rotating each of the blocks by 22 degrees on either side, we created a self-shaded kind of building, which is 100% daylit and 100% glare-free. These, of course, a lot of simulations were required to convince the engineering, all engineers in Infosys, but it passed through their grueling tests, and it's under construction now. So there are 4 of these blocks that sit on the edge of this man-made lake. And the entire landscape is also a biodiversity park. There is a lot of diverse flora and fauna of this region, which has been used so that they do not use up extra water. So so the landscape designing was also very crucial to achieving the result that we hope to achieve. So all the water goes into this and then gets recycled back into the building, so there is no water wasted. And that is what finally, when all the 4 blocks of phase 1 are up, that's what the building looks like. And this is an image of the rainwater harvested lake, which is at the base of the campus. This is the third kind of project that I said we really do and we passionately believe in, which is giving back to our city. You know, this country has given us a lot, other than the fact that, of course, we are Indians, but it's given us a lot of opportunity in the last 18 years. We have had fantastic projects to work on, starting from small art galleries to large IT campuses, to building cities. Literally, we build a city or 2 every year. We get a commission to do that. So it's given us so much opportunity. But there is something which is rotting away at the base of the urban infrastructure of the older cities, which is not being taken into consideration with rapid development and a huge amount of migration and influx into the cities. Delhi itself is 1.2 billion people, and it has problems of transportation. This is a typical Delhi scenario. This is how the infrastructure collapses, because there are no ways for people to negotiate this traffic. This is the kind of pollution generated by this kind of traffic. And this is what has happened to our water. So we started, a couple of years ago, we started this program which we call Delhi Nalas. Nalas is the name given to an open drain. An open drainage system was what drained all of Delhi historically. It was put together by Tughlaq dynasty, one of the dynasties that ruled with Delhi as a capital. It connected all the monuments of Delhi, because the monuments essentially came up where there was water available, and then finally connected to the river Yamuna, which was kind of the water source for entire northern India. Now most of these are either like this or like this. And these are not rare. I mean, when you walk through Delhi, this is what you see. And because essentially it was a drainage system of the city, so it is everywhere, it drains the whole city. And with 50% of the city's sewage going from slum areas, which are unplanned, into these directly, we have a huge issue. And so we started an advocacy program where we talked about it. We collaborated with other professionals that understand water a little bit better than us, and landscape architects, environmentalists, and of which Manit is also a trained environmentalist, so perhaps that's where our interest in this started. And just simple exercises like this, just to see, this is the before and this is the after, just really simple. And we talked about that creating an alternative walkability plan for all of Delhi, which is not making people walk along traffic. Because Delhi is a very green city. We have a very large percentage of the city under parks, but somehow it's never seen. So we try to advocate an alternative walking and cycling route so that people are not walking along pollution. So these are some of the slides and images we put together with our team, and this is the after. Now, this would ideally connect every metro station, every train station. It would be every cycling point, cycle to, from point to point. And it connects every monument of historic value in Delhi. So it would really be the touristic map that when all of you visit next, hopefully in a couple of years, you will be walking along. We looked at various examples of this. It's not a new thought. We've seen many examples where this has been successful around the world. In India, in South Korea, in China. So why not in Delhi? This is why not in Delhi. There are these many agencies that we had to talk to. So it was, in fact, you know, talking like Dorothy talked about working with a spouse. So there was a point that our son started to say that I don't need to do any social service. My father does enough for the whole family, you know, because this is what we were negotiating, and he was there representing this in all these different agencies, trying to get them to work together for the Delhi that we dream of. However, this is part of our advocacy. It was every single day, writing, talking, and through websites, creating momentum, through coordinating with various agencies. And it was, we got a lot of powerful bodies to support us. And finally, this one document that looks like kind of hard to read, but what it does is, here, this is Delhi's current policy. Open drains to make way for eco-corridors. And this really is a dream come true for us. It's unbelievable that we set out to do something, and today it is part of Delhi's policy. And hopefully when you all visit Delhi next time, this is what it will look like, not like the image I showed you earlier. Thank you. Thank you very much.